All praises to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai. Double honours to the elders at GMS, Elder Tahar, Elder Ramlab, all the elders, the apostles at GMS. Double honours to all of the GMS camps out there doing the work in the name of Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai. Double honours to all the other camps out there that are doing the work in the name of Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, that are following the true teachings of the scriptures and the teachings of the elders of GMS. All praises to all those out there who are doing the work. Today we're going to talk about the Khazars. Who are the Khazars? Yeah? Because many people like to profane that the Khazarians and the Khazarian Empire and the Khazars no longer exist. But as we're going to show you quite clearly, that the Khazars today are your modern day so-called Jews that are living throughout Israel and call themselves Israelis. Your modern day Israeli is a Khazarian. And we're going to prove that point to you today, and we're going to show you the documentation. We're going to read out to you documentation and from the scriptures as well regarding these so-called Jews who are occupying the land of Israel today, call themselves Israelis, who really are Eastern Europeans and are Khazars. So, we're going to quickly start with an intro from a very famous book, from a very famous Jewish, so-called Jewish rabbi who wrote this book. His name is Arthur Koestler, called The 13th Tribe. Yeah? He said this book traces the history of the ancient Khazar Empire, a major but also forgotten power in Eastern Europe, which in the Dark Ages became converted to Judaism. Yeah? Khazaria was finally wiped out by the forces of Genghis Khan, but evidence indicates that the Khazars themselves migrated to Poland and formed the cradle of Western Jewry. So what the so-called Jews were trying to say to you, oh yeah, that they were wiped out by Genghis Khan. Not so. The evidence shows you and indicates that the Khazars themselves migrated from where they were living out in the east. They were coming back west, but still in what we know as Eastern Europe today, and they formed societies in Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and that became the modern cradle of Western Jewry. Yeah? What they call Western Jewry. So we're going to quickly go to, we're going to start with page 15. Yeah? Okay, ironically, the last battle in the war, AD 737, ended in a Khazar defeat, but by the time the impetus of the Muslim Holy War was spent, the Caliphate was rocked by internal dissension, and the Arab invaders retraced their steps across the Caucasus without having gained a permanent foothold in the north, whereas the Khazars became more powerful than they had previously been. Okay, a few years later, probably 740 AD, the king, who was King Kagan of the Khazarian Empire, his court and the military ruling class embraced the Jewish faith, and Judaism became the state religion of the Khazars. Yeah? No doubt their contemporaries were as astonished by this decision as modern scholars were when they came across the evidence in the Arab, Byzantine and Russian and Hebrew sources. Says one of the most recent comments is to be found in a work by the Hungarian Marxist historian Dr. Antal Bartha. The book is called The Magyar Society in the 8th and 9th century. Has several chapters on the Khazars, as during the most of the period of the Hungarians were ruled by them. Yet their conversion to Judaism is discussed in a single paragraph with obvious embarrassment. It reads, yeah? So we're going to read. So these are famous historians that are looking into the histories of modern day people who claim to be someone else. So we have these modern day so-called Jews who live in Israel today, who call themselves Israelis, which is a word that does not exist in the scriptures, in the Torah, the Old Testament or the New Testament. And this is what they call themselves. So we're going to read an extract from out of the book called the Magyar the Magyar Society in the 8th and 9th centuries, written by Dr. Anthol Bartha. Okay, it reads, our investigations cannot go into problems pertaining to the history of ideas, but we must call the reader's attention to the matter of the Khazars kingdom, of the Khazar kingdom state religion. It was the Jewish faith which became the official religion of the ruling strata of society. Needless to say, the acceptance of the Jewish faith as the state religion of an ethnically non-Jewish people could be the subject of interesting speculation, right? Because, let me finish reading anyway. We shall, however, confine ourselves to the remark that this official conversion, in defiance of Christian proselytizing by the Byzantine, the Muslim influence from the East, and in spite of the political pressure of these two powers to a religion which had no support from any political power but was persecuted by nearly all, has come as a surprise to all historians concerned with the Khazars, and cannot be considered as accidental but must be regarded as a sign of the independent policy pursued by that kingdom. Okay, so what is in dispute is the fate of the Jewish Khazars after the destruction of their empire in the 12th and 13th century. So this is what we're disputing, yeah? On this problem, the sources are scant, but various late medieval Khazar settlements are mentioned in the Crimea, in Ukraine, in Hungary, in Poland, in Lithuania, right? Which is all in Eastern Europe. As we've always stated, that these so-called Jews that are living in Israel today, that are living in America, England, and the rest of Europe, who calling themselves Jews, yeah, are from Eastern Europe. So, the general picture that emerges from these fragmentary pieces of information is that of a migration of the Khazar tribes and communities into those regions of Eastern Europe, mainly Russia and Poland. Right? So let's quickly go back there. It says the general picture that emerges from these fragmentary pieces of information is that of a migration of Khazar tribes and communities into those regions of Eastern Europe, mainly Russia and Poland, where, as the dawn of the modern age, the greatest concentration of Jews were found. Yeah, as we've always stated, this is where they came from. Yeah, and we always state that Hitler, yeah, knew that those so-called Eastern Europeans were not Jews. They did not descend from the 12 tribes of Israel, from the 12 sons of Jacob. Yeah, they are from Esau, their descendants. That's where they come from. This has led several historians to conjecture that a substantial part, and perhaps the majority, of Eastern Jews, and hence of world Jewry, which I've just stated, might be of Khazar and not of some Shemitic origin. Yeah? So they are of Khazar. And we will say they are of Shemitic origin because to be of Shemitic origin means that you have to descend from Shem. Yeah? You have to descend from Shem, one of Noah's 3 sons. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Japheth, and he had Shem, Japheth, and Ham. Those were Noah's 3 sons. Yeah? Ham, Japheth, and Shem. And you had to descend from Shem to be a Shemite. So yes, they did descend from Shem because they came from Esau. Esau was Jacob's biological twin. Yeah? They weren't identical twins. Yeah? They looked different. They were biological twins but not identical twins. So anyone who descends from Shem is a Shemite. So if you're a descendant from Ishmael, Ishmael is Abraham's first son. Abraham's father is Terah. Yeah, they all go back to Shem, which makes them a Shemite. So even your Ishmaelites, your Arabs that are out in the Middle East, are Shemites, as long as they descend from Shem, which they do, because they come from Ishmael. Ishmael is Abraham's son. Yeah, Esau is Jacob's son, Esau is Isaac's son, Jacob's twin, biological twin. Yeah? So, as the book says, this has led several historians to conjecture that a substantial part and perhaps the majority of Eastern Jews, and hence the world Jewry, might be of Khazar and not of Shemitic origin. The far-reaching implications of this hypothesis may explain the great caution exercised by historians in approaching this subject if they do not avoid it altogether. The reason why you're not going to get this mainstream, because mainstream media, TV, movies, newspapers, magazines, finance houses, is all owned and controlled by these so-called Jews who we know are Khazars. They own it all. They control it all. So everything that's fed out there is controlled by these guys. Our only light we've got left to actually bring out these truths to you is via YouTube. Because at the moment, YouTube is not being censored to the point where if you upload a video, the minute you upload it, you can publish it straight away and it goes live. I know for a fact that these so-called Jews, the owners of YouTube, who I think is owned by Facebook or Google, one or two. Now Google, I think Google owns YouTube, right, which is owned by Jews. At some point, the rules are going to change, because this truth about these so-called Khazars, these warmongering Khazars, murdering Khazars that call themselves Israelis or call themselves Jews today, are going to change how you upload videos to YouTube. They're going to put such a restraint on it, and I can see that what will happen is that your videos will go up to like a holding site. It will get reviewed for a week, 2 weeks, or 48 hours, however long a period of it, and then they'll decide what can be uploaded and what can't, or what needs to be edited out and what can stay in and so forth. It's going to be like a regulatory board that's going to monitor and it's going to review everything that goes up to YouTube. I just know at some point the chips are going to change, because this truth is coming fast and furious, and at the moment it is like a flood and they can't stop it because we have these outlets. But very soon they are going to put a stop to this. So, there's not much time left for us to get this word out, this information out, and they know there's not much time left for their own rulership of this world. Yeah? Anyway, the Turkish-speaking, where was that? The far-reaching implication of this hypothesis may explain the great caution exercised by historians in approaching this subject if they do not avoid it altogether. Thus, the 1973 edition of the Encyclopedia Judea, the article Khazars is signed by Dunlop, but there is a separate section dealing with Khazar Jews after the fall of the kingdom, signed by the editors and written with the obvious intent to avoid upsetting believers in the dogma of the chosen race. It says the Turkish-speaking Karaites, a fundamentalist Jewish sect of the Crimea, Poland and elsewhere, have affirmed the connection with the Khazars, which is perhaps confirmed by evidence from folklore and anthropology, as well as language. There seems to be a considerable amount of evidence as attesting to the continued presence in Europe of the descendants of the Khazars. Yeah? So, how important is the quantitative terms how important in quantitative terms is the presence of the Caucasian sons? Yeah? So, they know this as a truth. They've even got this written down in the Jewish Encyclopedia of 1973, where they've got a small section in there which says this, what we just read out, Turkish-speaking Karaites, because these Turks are mixed up with those so-called Jews as well that are living in Israel today. They are mixed up with them, yeah, through their histories, through their invasions and through their wars and through the Ottoman Empire's rulership. A fundamentalist Jewish sect of the Crimea, Poland and elsewhere have affirmed the connection with the Khazars, which is perhaps confirmed by evidence from folklore and anthropology as well as language. Okay, this was written before the full extent of the Holocaust was known, yeah, but that does not alter the fact that the large majority of surviving